Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. This is Black and Indigenous American. And I have a lot to say this afternoon about a few things. First things first, I hope everyone's having a blessed summer thus far. A lot has happened, obviously, nationally, domestically, a lot has happened, but I hope you guys have stayed prayed up and you're getting through it. And hopefully a lot of you guys are just having the time of your lives and life couldn't get any better for you. So anyway, I wanted to go ahead and start this this video on book reviews. Okay. There's this one book that I read a few years ago. It's called Hope on Hatterask. Not Hatteras, but Hatterask. I'm going to leave a link to this book via Amazon. I'm going to leave that in the description box. Just give me some time to add that to the description box this weekend, okay? It's by Michael Grayhawk Parsons, also known as Gray. I love and respect this man, this author, and I just want you guys to also be able to experience such a great book. And I'm just going to read a little bit from Amazon about this book, okay? Hope on Hatterask is fundamentally a true story about three very different early 19th century characters who are brought together through an unlikely series of profound events in each of their lives. There are Elijah, an adolescent orphan Scottish-Irish boy struggling to survive the port ghettos of Northern Ireland. There is Mbato, a proud young West African warrior whose whole life is abruptly and dramatically altered forever by both fellow Africans and pale-skinned intruders from lands and ocean away, and a brave adolescent Eastern coastal Native American woman who faces constant oppression and danger on a colonized continent that only 2 centuries earlier was occupied and controlled exclusively by her own people. Okay. Again, I'm recommending you guys, those who, you know where I'm coming from, right? You know what I've been about on YouTube, and it's always been about something multicultural, something dealing with Indigenous American issues, cultures, African American, Black, struggle, oppression, all that. So again, Hope on Hatterask. Just to read a couple of reviews on the back here of this book. The first review is by Carl Bornfriend. Carl is like an adopted father of Michael Grayhawk Parsons. So this is pretty much like a father figure who's actually read and reviewed this book. He's also the executive director of Frisco Native American Museum and National History Center on Hatterask Island, North Carolina. So I've met Mr. Carl Bornfriend a few years back. He's up in age now, but I've always felt welcome when I attended the events at that museum every year in April. And I just pretty much treat it as family. So anyway, this is his review. Hope on Hatterask is an important book offering insights on life for Native Americans along coastal North Carolina during the early 1800s. Readers are introduced to 3 compelling characters and given a glimpse of life for a runaway slave, an apprentice immigrant, and a young Native girl. When the lives of the 3 converge, the meaning of the title becomes evident. Based on generations of oral history, the book offers a rich tapestry of authentic language and cultural practices. It is a must read, and hopefully just the beginning, volley for Michael Grayhawk Parsons. Okay. Also, I just wanted to mention that, again, this book is based on true events. So go check it out. Also, here's one other review. This review is by Chief Lynette Lewis Alston. She's the chief of the Nottoway tribe of Virginia. And you guys, you know how much I express my love for their powwow in Virginia, Surrey, Virginia. And Chief Lynette, again, is such a sweet spirit. And this is her review of Michael Grayhawk's book. She said, a heartfelt story that blends history with realistic depiction of the intertwining of cultures. Realistic, people, realistic. Again, a heartfelt story that blends history with a realistic depiction of the intertwining of cultures. Okay, so once again, hope on Hatterask. Hatterask. The book online is for $14.91, and I do know that he chose that number, that price, $14.91, because it was a year before Christopher Columbus discovered not America, but the Caribbeans. And the Caribbean is a different part of the, Western Hemisphere, right? So anyway, whatever. Okay, so I am trying to talk Mr. Parsons into putting this on ebooks, right? So you can get on your Amazon Kindle. And also I'm trying to talk him into making an audio book of this, like actually reading it, recording, him reading the story or whatever. And that way, for people like myself that would much rather, if I'm stuck in a car or just somewhere where I just want to zone out, I can just plug up my earbuds and listen to a book in 3 hours, right? So I'm working on that. The next book is called Fire on the Beach. And this book is by David Wright and David Zoby. Recovering the Lost Story of Richard Etheridge and the Pea Island Lifesavers. Okay. This is one book I have yet to read, but it is on my list to read in the very near future. I've gone down to the Outer Banks back to back for the past, I would say, 4 years. And before that, I went down to Outer Banks in 2003. It was a company kind of get together thing. And that was only in Kitty Hawk. So I didn't go all the way down, throughout the Outer Banks. So I really didn't know much about the Outer Banks in general. I just knew that a lot of people like to vacation there, and most people that I saw and those who I was acquainted with that went were not people of color, if you know what I mean. So I did notice the few times that I went down there, you didn't see much diversity when it came to race. You saw a lot of non-people of color that vacation down there. And so anyway, down in Frisco Village, where the Native American Museum is, that's where I spent most of my time, in Frisco in Buxton, North Carolina, which is near Hatteras Village as well. That's pretty much Cape Hatteras. If you're looking at a map of North Carolina and you see a big piece of land along Route 12, that's Cape Hatteras right there. And so you have Frisco Village, Buxton Village, and Hatteras Village. So Well, I'm sorry, not Hatteras Village. You have Buxton and Frisco Village. So anyway, back to this book. The reason why this book is very important, because again, there's not that much content out there when it comes to people of color, in particular African American, Black, Negro, whatever you want to call them, their contributions to that region of North Carolina. And so when I went down there, I think it was April of this year, there was an article, and I think I might have mentioned this article to you guys. It was in one of those free newspapers. And the front cover was about this man called Richard Etheridge. And he was the lead lifesaver. Because, I mean, one thing about that region, they have a lot of history when it comes to lifesavers, shipwrecks and things of that nature. And you don't hear much about other people besides white people being honored or recognized. And I went to a museum near the lighthouse down in Buxton, North Carolina. And when I went in the museum, I saw a bunch of, white men who were recognized for saving so many people who, one thing about, apparently when those ships were coming in and they would hit that shallow water, those ships were wrecked. And so you had lifesavers that were along the coast that would actually go out in the water and rescue people. So that's why they call them lifesavers. And so I say all of this because I needed to know more about this man, this crew, and anybody else other than non-white folks that contributed to that region. I just need it. I need to be able to learn this information. This type of stuff you're not going to find in a regular history book. This type of stuff you probably will learn about later in life, unless you go to a school that is very conscious when it comes to history other than what's in regular history books in public schools in the United States. So anyway, I'm going to read the first paragraph on the back here just to give you an idea what this book is about. It says this is the heroic, long forgotten tale of the only all-Black crew in the history of the United States Coast Guard. In 1871, the Life-Saving Service, the precursor to the Coast Guard, was created by Congress to assure the safe passage of American and international shipping and to save lives and salvage cargo. Although it was decommissioned in 1915, a century ago, the LSS boasted some 200 stations, and the adventures of the now forgotten surfmen filled the pages of popular reading, from Harper's to the Baltimore Sun to the New York Herald. And so here's the review. It says, the riveting, previously untold story of the extraordinary heroism of former slaves and freedmen who became lifesavers on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. St. Louis Post-Dispatch, best books of 2001. So, this is my next book I'm going to read. Again, I'm going to link this book in the description box sometime this weekend, so you guys can check it out if you care to learn more about Richard Etheridge. And they also named a bridge after him just recently. And I had the honor to, be in that area and pay my respects. And I met one of his great grandson. His name is Elijah. I'm sorry, Ezekiel, and he lives in Ohio. But he came all the way down from Ohio, guys, to be at the Native American Museum in Frisco, North Carolina. And most of his people, they live in Manio, North Carolina, which is on Roanoke Island. So that was like when I found out that I met this man's descendant. That was incredible. That was incredible. And the thing is, we all like myself, the author of this book, the descendant of the man that they wrote this book about, Richard Etheridge, and other people of significance. We all walked along the beach in Buxton, North Carolina, and we said, you know, forgiveness, and we prayed in our own way right there on the beach. That was incredible. That was incredible, guys. So anyway, enough of book reviews. Again, this one I will be reading by the end of the year. This one I've already read. Check it out. Oh, and I'm also trying to talk him into creating a series, right, of these characters, maybe branching out, maybe expanding a little bit more on certain characters. You never know. So, and he's not a high tech type person. So eventually he'll have a presence on YouTube. But until then, it is what it is. Okay, so enough of the book reviews. The next thing I wanted to talk about was I've been watching Netflix because I have Netflix and I've been just like buried in Netflix. Anyway, so I say all of this because I came across one of these shows called The Story of Us by Morgan Freeman. And I'm just going to read a little bit for those who have yet to watch this show. I'm just starting to watch it, actually. I think I'm in episode 4, I believe. So it says The Story of Us with Morgan Freeman, and this is via Wikipedia, by the way. It's a documentary series televised on the National Geographic Channel in 2017. Okay, so if you have cable, there's a way to watch this. I just happened to see it on Netflix. I have cable and Netflix. So when I saw that, and it was also recommended to me based on my my viewing habits. So you can watch it on cable. It says it is hosted and narrated by actor Morgan Freeman, produced by Revelations Entertainment. The series examines some of the fundamental forces that drive humanity, including love, freedom, peace, factionalism, power, and rebellion. The thesis of the series is that people have more in common with each other than what divides them. 6 episodes in total. The show airs in an hour-long format for a total of 6 hours. National Geographic approved the series in April of 2017, and the first episode aired in October 2017. So anyway, I've watched, well, let me see. Maybe I've already seen all the episodes. So the first episode, The March of Freedom and Exploration of the concept of freedom across various cultures and countries. What does it mean to be free? So that was the question. What does it mean to be free? Some people talked about their sexual orientation and how loving the person that you want to love, they didn't feel free unless they were able to do that. And this one couple was from Russia. They moved to the US in order to get married. And I forgot what city. I think they lived somewhere in New York City, maybe. But that was their sense of freedom, right? Their sense of freedom was actually being able to marry and love who they wanted to. And where they came from, that was suppressed. Now, of course, in this country, there are plenty of areas where people don't agree with that choice in who you love or whatever. So based on your sexual orientation. So, you know, if you go to back in the woods, Booney Town, they're not going to receive you as well. But if you're in a metropolitan area, you're more than likely to not be harassed or threatened or whatever like that. I'm sure it does happen, but it's not as dangerous as living in Alabama somewhere. Then the next episode was The Fight for Peace. A look at the cycle of war and peace, violence and harmony. Is war necessary? I think the episode was pretty much just giving us what we already know. You know, whatever we see on the news and stuff like that. So it didn't really, to me, it didn't tell me something I wasn't already aware of. Okay, episode 3, The Power of Love, an exploration of love in its many forms and in unexpected places it survives. Can love change the world? I'm trying to remember, like, let's see. Look at the concept of us and them. What divides us? Okay. I think that episode was where this person of color, a non-white man, when he was growing up, he was one of 2 non-white kids in his school. And he experienced some things, what we probably would expect he would experience, right, eventually. And so as a grown adult or as a man later in life, he chose to set up meetings with members of the Ku Klux Klan because he truly believed if he could reach just one person that has been conditioned and brainwashed to hate him just because of his color and no other reason, then he felt like he had, you know, served a purpose. So he went, you know how you can go to any rally that they, like, let's just say in DC, you know, you may have the KKK, you know, organize free speech or whatever, march, rally. And then you have the opposing side there saying, you know, whatever. They're opposed to the KKK or the white nationalists. And so this guy will go to one of those rallies or whatever, and he will actually try to reach out to some of those people. Now, you have to have a heart of gold and thick skin to go up to someone who has been conditioned to hate the core of your soul and pissed off because you're taking the air and breathing in their air. I mean, and he was able to reach a few people, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful that he was able to create a relationship with someone who was lost. And when I say lost, meaning this one particular guy, he came up, or he was brought up in a dysfunctional family, which that's kind of a common background story for many people to get caught up in groups that tear other people down. So anyway, he was brought up in a dysfunctional family, and he didn't feel like he belonged anywhere. And he finally was in a group where they accepted him and he felt important. And that's the main reason why he joined the KKK. And this actually reminds me of that movie, Black Klansman, Spike Lee's joint, right? If you haven't seen it, I suggest you at least look at it. I think it's on HBO. And apparently there were Klans members or whatever that they really just wanted to be part of something. They wanted to be part of a club. And many of those people, they were not trying to go out and kill anybody or hang somebody from a tree or drag them behind a pickup truck. They just wanted to feel significant. They wanted to feel like they belonged. They wanted to feel important. And so I think many of them were misfits or whatever, and they found a group of people that made them feel like somebody. Now, for me personally, I'm not a club type person. I'm not a Greek organization type person. I don't feel the need for other people to bond with me, for me to feel self-worth. But there are many people out there who join all kinds of groups to feel as if they belong to something bigger than them, right? Clubs, you know, in school, gangs. To me, it's more of a tribal thing, right? It's a tribal thing. People want to be part of a tribe. And unfortunately, some people get caught up in some very destructive organizations. So yeah, the power of love, how you can love the hate away. Whatever has hardened someone's heart, and you can love through that. Woo! That is some power right there. That is powerful. That you can love people when they're hurt, and all they know how to do is hurt other people. The next episode was Us and Them. And look at the concept of us and them, what divides us, what drives us to divide. I think no, not this one. It was the other. It was the next episode. So Us and Them, like what drives us to divide. They mention religion. That's a big one. And again, I come from a Christian background. But I have to admit, religion is one element that separates people, that causes division. Because, you know, you're taught, don't hang out with those people. They're up to no good, or they stay in and out of trouble. You only hang with these people that read the same text that we read and believe the same way the same way we do. Just be around like-minded people, right? I understand the concept of being around like-minded people because for the most part, there are probably less friction going on, less arguing, even though there are moments of disagreement, right? People do split up and stuff. For the most part, if you're around like-minded people, there's less likely of civil war or whatever. So that's what they were talking about in that episode. And then the next episode was Power of Us. And President Clinton was interviewed in this particular episode, as well as a newly elected chief in Panama, not too far from Panama City. This was a particular tribal community that were very, very traditional. And even though they live very close to the city, they choose to live the traditional way. So they aired the newly elected tribal member of that particular community. And so you have the president of the United States, former president of the United States, and then you have a tribal leader, a totally different country, living off the land, and how they described democracy. And so President Clinton mentioned something that caught my attention. He said, us and them. Some people see if another group of people are doing well, then it could be anything. Then this group of people feels like, well, I must be less than. I don't want to be less than. I want to have more than what they have. And then I sat there and thought about that thing, and I said, you know what? Just like the whole hashtag Black Lives Matter. I'm using it as an example because that's not the only. I know all lives matter. I'm a believer in that. But this particular hashtag Black Lives Matter, it needed to be highlighted, right? And some people got upset. They were like, well, why are we focusing on Black people? My life matters, and I'm not Black. We're not taking away from your life mattering. Your life matters. We're not taking away from that. It's okay. It's okay. Right now, this is a problem, an issue that these people over here have to deal with. You don't have to deal with the same situations on an elevated level than these people over here. So let's highlight the dysfunction and corruption when it comes to police brutality and injustices for this group of people. And if you want to be an ally, beautiful. But if you're going to sit back and get offended because we're not including you all the time, honey, I suggest you look in the mirror, because it does not have to be about you all the time. But like I said, as soon as the spotlight is off certain people, they automatically think they're less than. And it's not the case. Everyone has value. Everyone's lives matter. But in this particular situation, there needs to be a spotlight on the dysfunction that's going on in society, in this country. And you worrying about, the whole Black Lives Matter hashtag. Yeah. So anyway, us and them. And then the rebel spirit. That was the last episode. It looks like it was only 6 episodes. An attempt to understand how a rebellion can be successful. What does it take to stand up to power and change the world? So I'm thinking I think Morgan Freeman kind of hinted on the Declaration of Independence. Yeah. Apparently, the initial draft of that Declaration of Independence, and I think Thomas Jefferson, they mentioned him. There were some words that were changed. And then what we have today is what we have today. And apparently the words that were changed had something to do with being born with the inherited freedom. And they changed that apparently, because that would have meant everybody born as a human, obviously, have the right to freedom. And then, the whole thing when some people believe people of color were not human or, whatever. Crazy. dysfunctional, psychotic individuals. But anyway, so I suggest you guys, especially if you like watching my channel, you know where I'm coming from. You probably would enjoy The Story of Us with Morgan Freeman. Again, this came out on National Geographic Channel in October 2017. Looks like there was only one season and 6 episodes. And I believe I'm done with it. I think I might have got through all 6 episodes on Netflix. So there you go. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Now, the next thing I wanted to do was give my review of The Gift. 2 songs, because this will go on forever. And of course, there's so many album reviews out there with this album called The Gift that has been inspired by the new Lion King movie that came out last weekend. And The Gift is Beyonce's new album, okay? There's so many reactions to it and people listening to it. And, you know, I've already heard the album, and I've heard the album over and over again. And there's like 4 songs that I have on repeat. So you're not going to see my initial reaction because I've already seen it. I mean, already heard it. But there's 2 songs that I wanted to talk more about in detail. And the first one is Bigger, because that was the first song on that album. And oh my goodness, I have always been a Destiny's Child fan from day one. Day one, okay? And then when the group kind of, you know, members went their separate ways or whatever and went solo and everything, Beyonce's style has evolved over the years, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a diehard Beyonce fan. I would like to be, but just over the years, just not for me. I'm more of a Destiny's Child. I say all of this because this song, Bigger, brought me back to Destiny's Child. The harmony, like the octaves, just the sound, everything was just amazing. And the message in this song brought me to tears. And there is a music video out there that is actually an extended version of the video for Spirit, which is the last song on the album, The Gift. And I think the song Spirit is on the actual Lion King soundtrack as well. I think. Don't quote me. But anyway. Where do I start? I'm just going to start reading the lyrics. Because this right here, this song, Bigger, is deep. It's deep because, you know, Beyonce was like, oh, I believe in, you know, Jesus and God. And, you know, I'm a Christian. Well, anyway, she has moved on from what she initially shared with the world when she first came out. And I understand because hopefully we're on a spiritual path, spiritually growing, right? And so, but this song right here, wow. Now, I'm not going to play the song or whatever because I don't even think that's necessary. You can just go anywhere on YouTube and hear the song. But anyway, if you feel insignificant, you better think again. Better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. And I can't tell you how many times I felt less than because I didn't make the grade or whatever like that. And if you compare yourself to other people, eventually you're going to get disappointed because you didn't meet either someone else's standards or whatever like that. You feel insignificant, right? It says you're part of something way bigger, not just a speck in the universe. Think about that. A speck in the universe. You know how big the universe is? I have no clue, but I just know there's a lot of space out there. Not just some words in a Bible verse. The first chapter of Genesis, at the very beginning. Let me just get that scripture. Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. Sorry that I'm taking so long here. There we go. I had to change to another website. In the beginning, and this is the New International Version, because you know there's like a million versions out there, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. Now, in some versions, they say in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God. Okay? But anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But not just some words in a Bible verse. Not just some words in a Bible verse. A lot of times when we'll be either in church, reading scripture along with the minister or whoever, or in Bible study, we just read a story and it, glaze over it. We didn't understand it, only focus on what we did understand. And for many people, they were just words. Like, well, God healed this person in this story, in this book here, but I see people dying all the time that's praying to this God, and they still died. So a lot of people look at it as, oh, just a story in a book, just words in a book, So when she says not just some words in a Bible verse, so you're bigger than just a story in a Bible. You're bigger than that. You are the living word. Uh-oh. I know she done stepped on somebody's toes now when she said that. The living word, many people believe that is Christ or Yeshua, the Christ. And many of us were taught that the Spirit of God dwells in us, the Holy Spirit, right, is in us. Bigger is he in us than in the world, right? And of course, they say he, masculine, whatever. That's another topic of discussion. But you are the living word. The living word. Okay? I see where she's going with this. you're part of something way bigger, bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than the picture they framed us to see. The first thing that came to my mind, well, at least the places I worshipped growing up, which was Southern Baptist, you're gonna see a white Jesus in a picture frame somewhere in that church, and usually it will be behind the choir, so everybody can see this picture of this white Jesus, or what people thought Yeshua looked like, right? Middle Eastern, but he looked like he's from Scandinavia. Okay. But now we see it, and it ain't no secret. So she said, bigger than you, bigger than we, bigger than the picture they framed us to see, but now we see it, and it ain't no secret. Remember the documentary that came out, The Secret? They introduced a lot of people, including myself, to the law of attraction. And part of the secret is that we are part of God. We are part of God. Go within, and you will find. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself now. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me continue. Oh, I have a comment. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. One of the screens were blocking. Sweet, great video. I do agree. I pray for all people. It's God's way. By yourself. Be yourself. I stand only. Best way to be. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Sweet. Okay, so let me continue. And then in the next verse here in the song, it says, understand the truth about that question in your soul. Look up. You look up. Don't look down. Then watch the answers unfold. Let me say that again. Understand the truth about that question in your soul. Look up. Don't look down. Then watch the answers unfold. For me, when I heard her sing that, she was talking about meditation. Shut up, get quiet, go within, spend time with the great I am, right? Highest divinity. And whatever answers that you've been wondering about, when you look up, that is symbolic for surrender. Like, okay, God, whatever, universe, help me. I need help. Versus looking down in a defeated way. More so like surrender, like, okay, I'm listening. And in that video, if you ever go see the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because in the video, she does this thing here, and then she does this thing here. And one thing about the video too, so many symbols. I am still a babe when it comes to decoding. I'm still a babe in that. And I'm sure somebody out there eventually going to come out with a video and will decode not only the lyrics, but also the video. When you see this video, you're going to see her and her dancers dressed in colors. Like everybody wears blue in one scene. Everyone wears red in one scene. Everyone wears white in one scene. And to me, the first thing that came to mind to me was chakras. Chakras. The colors. Throat chakra is blue. Right? So anyway, again, you just have to go see the video, what I'm talking about. But in that scene when she says, don't look up, she does this, and she's wearing blue. She's wearing blue, and she's at some beautiful fall somewhere, waterfall, in I believe it's either New Mexico or Arizona. And this was on indigenous reservation, by the way, guys. My last video was about reservation folks. But anyway, and so that in of itself was also significant as well, because I thought all the scenes were in that video. I thought they were in Africa, somewhere in the Saharan desert or whatever. That's what I initially thought. And then I saw that, and let me go to my Facebook page here. Let's see. Let me get to it real quick. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The Havasupai, Havasupai tribe says they were honored to have our beautiful Havasu Falls as a backdrop. So this was in Arizona. So it's Havasu, Havasu Falls in Arizona. The name of the tribe again is Havasupai, Havasupai, and they're in Arizona. And so she, the scene with her wearing, it looks like it's a blue dress. You go online, you look at the video, it's a better quality than this, but that's the falls, beautiful falls in Arizona. Might I add, she has Creole ancestry, right? French, Spanish, or French, African American, and Native American. And for her to be at the falls here, which is gorgeous, by the way, and she's wearing a blue dress. She's mixing some stuff up in there. Seriously, when you look at the colors, where she's located on a Native American reservation, she's in the water. She's in the water. She's in the water. Can somebody say Yemaya? Yemaya. That is an African goddess. Just saying. Just saying. Now, that African goddess, Yemaya, I don't know much about goddesses and things of that nature, but the whole mermaid thing going on, you know, Disney is doing a remake or whatever of the mermaid, and they're using a person of color to play the mermaid, right? And you probably heard about that hashtag, not my mermaid, or not my Ariel, because that was the name of the mermaid in the mermaid, Ariel, right? And here you have Beyonce standing in water, wearing the color blue. Right after all this talk about not my Ariel hashtag, there was never any black mermaids or whatever. Let me read something real quick. And again, I'm not an expert when it comes to goddesses and African goddesses and gods and all that. This type of stuff I'm just learning, you know, the past, I guess, few months now, because I really wasn't receptive to anything else. But now I'm learning about other people's beliefs and stuff. So anyway, Yemaya is the Yoruba Orisha or goddess of the living ocean. considered the mother of all. She is the source of all the waters, including the rivers of Western Africa, especially River Ogun. Her name is a contraction of Ye, Oma, Eja, which means mother whose children are the fish. But you got all these people out here, hashtag not my area. There ain't no black, mermaids. There's a connection between the remake of The Mermaid and Beyonce. And apparently because Beyonce is connected to the young lady who's going to play Ariel in The Mermaid, on a business level, she's connected to her. And I heard through the grapevine that Beyonce would not be a part of the Lion King project unless they chose a person of color to play the Little Mermaid. That was the deal. I mean, again, I'm not a hardcore fan of Beyonce, but here lately, she's starting to get some of that respect back from me as a person, artist, what have you. And I can't do nothing but respect what she is trying to do at this level of her career right now. And leaving, it's hard for me to explain, so let me just continue to read. Thanks, sweet, for still tuning in, because this is a long video, but apparently you're interested in what I have to say because you're the only one watching, so thank you. As all life is thought to have begun in the sea, under the sea, all life is held to have begun with Yemaya. She is motherly and strongly protective and cares deeply for all her children. I got to come back to that, children. I'll be right back with that. Comforting them and cleansing them of sorrows. Oh my goodness. I got to come back to that. Remind me, sweet, because I'm going to have to come back to that, okay? She is said to be able to cure infertility in women, and cowrie shells represent her wealth. And I see a lot of people wearing those shells. Cowrie, C-O-W-R-I-E, cowrie shells. I see a lot of people, very Afrocentric people wearing those shells. She does not easily lose her temper, but when angered, she can be quite destructive and violent as the sea in a storm. Back to Miss Beyonce. She's in the water at a reservation, which, as we know, that is reserved for Indigenous American people that are recognized. She has an ancestry, not necessarily that particular tribe, but she has Indigenous American ancestry. And she's, again, wearing the color blue, standing in the water. And in some scenes, she's actually laying in the water and her hair is kind of like, in the waves or in the water like a mermaid. And she's wearing blue. Okay, again, I may not be an expert when it comes to decoding and all that stuff. And no one has decoded it yet. But this is my interpretation of what that is. So back to the lyrics. I stopped at, meditation or whatever. Then she says, life is your birthright. They hid that in the fine print. Oh my God, it just came back to me. You remember when I was talking about the Declaration of Independence, when I was talking about the story of us with Morgan Freeman and how some of the words were changed around, and it had something to do with people being born into freedom. It was inherited, right? And she says, life is your birthright. Life, in my opinion, that's freedom. Freedom is your birthright. They hid that in the fine print. They hid that in the fine print. Is she talking about the Declaration of Independence? This is the kind of story in a song that I love. It makes you think. Lyrics that make you think, make you want to go and look things up. One thing about Beyonce, along with her husband, Jay-Z, they drop gems. And if you're not careful, you'll get distracted by all of the bling bling and the pop and the booty and all of that. But once you kind of get past that, and if you just pay attention to those little gems that they're dropping, right? So you just have to be the type of person that can read between the lines, right? Then she says, take the pen and rewrite it. Again, life is your birthright. They hid that in the fine print. Take the pen and rewrite it. Is she talking about journaling? Is she talking about scribing? Remember, I was talking about I've started to journal, right? What I expect my future to be as if it's already here, you know? So it is, right? Some people use that as a way to rewrite their past that already happened, but rewrite it as if it never happened. Like if you had a childhood that was horrible, right? Apparently some people, this is a psychological thing too. They will actually write in a journal and write as if their childhood was amazing, that they had everything they needed, all the resources and love they needed. And apparently that helps them create the future that they expect as if it's already. So it is. It's like it took me a while to kind of figure that out. Like you can't change the past. Actually, you can change the past on a spiritual level, right? And so she says, take the pen and rewrite it. You got to start journaling. That's what she's talking about. At least that's the interpretation that I got from that. Okay, Sweet says, yes, on the Mermaid. I saw that too. You are so funny. Really enjoying this. Yay! I'm glad I still have your attention. Then you say, yes, I am tuned in and cooking. Yes, you did talk about it. Okay. All right. Let me go back real quick. When I was reading about Yemaya, about that line says, she is motherly and strongly protective and cares deeply for all her children. Okay. I had a dream, a vivid dream. And I know it's a message, but I kind of didn't really get into trying to figure it out. I just used my own interpretation of what it was. But I was apparently at this beach, and there was this really, really tall, almost tsunami-like wave that was right on the beach, as if it was going to crash over when everybody was at the beach, and I just happened to be there. And I remember, I'm like, what's going on with this water, this wall of water? Like, I don't know how many stories high it was. And I remember the first thing I was thinking, where are the children? Where are the kids? Where are the children? Like, that's the first thing I thought, like, where are the kids? And then I ran, and then there was this little shack, and there was this big, dark skin, and when I said big, I mean as far as stout, thick, like a big mama. She had this apron on, and her back was towards me. I was like, where are the kids? I don't think I talked to her, but I think we had a telepathy type situation going on. And then she looked at me and nodded, because again, her back was toward me, but she turned around like she was in the kitchen. She turned around and nodded. And then she lifted up, you know, back a long time ago, probably in the 1800s, maybe even the early 1900s for some poor families, where they had this sheet or curtain or whatever that would hide underneath a sink or something like that. And so she lifted that curtain, and all of these little kids were under the sink or countertop or whatever. This was this open space up under there. And she lifted it up for me to see the children. And she said something like, don't worry about the children, or the children are okay. And then I woke up. And when I just read that on our website, I got goosebumps because it said, she is motherly and strongly protective and cares deeply for all her children, comforting them and cleansing them of sorrow. She was protecting those children that I was worried about. So I'm like, why am I having a dream? Why am I having a dream about this tall wall, like I don't know how many stories high, of this almost like a tsunami? Like just, it was so like Armageddon type. And I've had dreams like, you know, end of the world type stuff, and it creeps me out. But for whatever reason, that particular dream stood out to me because it was a wall of water on the beach, and it never crashed. And the people on the beach were people of color, by the way. I don't remember seeing white folks at all on this beach. And it was very few people that was on the beach. Like, I don't know, they didn't get the memo. I didn't get the memo, but here's this wave about to crash. And I was like, God, please don't let that wave crash on us, you know. And it didn't budge. It just was it reminded me of the story of Moses when he crossed the Red Sea or whatever, and how the water like separated, and there was a path for them to walk through. Most Christians and even Jewish people are familiar with the story of Moses. That's what it reminded me of, just this wall of water. And you're like, so anyway, back to Beyonce. Okay. Yeah, she's definitely invoking some type of goddess, and not just Yemaya, but that particular scene. Yep. Mother of all, mermaid. So they can go ahead with that whole hashtag, not my Ariel, whatever. They mad because the original Ariel in the Disney film was white with red hair. Do they have any idea how many other stories have been adjusted and manipulated to suit them when that actually wasn't a true, authentic story? And then they have an attitude because now all of a sudden the white Ariel you got used to is now a few shades darker. There's gonna be a whole lot of upset people when they find out their savior does not look like he's from Scandinavia, one of them European countries, Switzerland or something. Okay, sweet. You said you had a vision. Believe it. My sister had that same vision 2 weeks ago. You talking about my dream with the whole water and the big black lady, dark-skinned lady who was protecting the children? Is that what you're talking about? Because I do get messages in my dreams. Like, I prefer messages through my dreams versus seeing something walk across the room. For those who have that gift, God bless them. I don't mind messages in my dream. So anyway, back to the lyrics of Bigger. And I need to speed up because it's been over an hour now. You know, I can go on and on and on, right? So she says, take the pen and rewrite it. Step out of your estimate. Step in your essence and know that you're excellent. Rise, rise. The spirit is teaching. Oh, I'm not just preaching. I'm taking my own advice. So yeah, I agree. Law of attraction. I've said this again. Law of attraction has really opened up a lot for me. Because if you believe the lies that has been told for centuries, that you're nothing and never will be nothing, and then you find out you have royal DNA, you come from a people of resilience, you can't fail. You inherit resilience. And when you realize that, telling you, and somebody on Beyonce's, career famous star level at this point of her career, I guess she's very confident that she's protected, and she's putting out information, gems, clues, right? She's dropping clues. And I just feel like it's been time. It definitely has been time. And I'm happy that she's sharing some of this knowledge. And again, it's in lyrics, and you can interpret it any kind of way you want to interpret it. But she is more mature. I think she and I might be around the same age. She's raising 3 children. She's a perfectionist, obviously. But it's not just about her and her man or her husband. I believe that she is very much in the mom mindset for the next generation, for her children. And not just her children, but also people within her community, right? So I give her props for that. She's giving me a lot of Destiny's Child in this song. She really is. And this is what I miss. Every so often you hear the ballads and that sultry vibe that you would typically get from a Destiny's Child song, right? But this has transitioned from relationship type songs to bigger, right? Bigger than that, more important than that. This is a spiritual thing, right? So I love that. That's why I love the song. And I'm glad the song was the first song on the album. Okay, Sweet says, look at Caramel Ahaho video. Look at all of them. Okay, thank you. I will definitely take your advice and check that out. Then you said just the part about standing on the beach, seeing the water rising on the beach. Oh, wow. Okay, you got me curious. So I'm definitely going to check out those videos. Okay. All right, back to the lyrics. Okay, bigger, wait a minute. I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so let's see. Okay, then she says, let mama let you know, mama's just trying. I can't get no days off. I don't get no days off. Truly, I'm feeling it. I had to say that thing twice. Trying to be a good wife. Still really hard. I can't lie, but I promise you I will fight. So I fight. So I think this part of the song was dedicated to her children. because obviously we've seen in the media how her relationship with her husband has been rocky. She put some stuff out there in the album of pretty much raw feelings about everything. He put out an album about how he felt about, you know, what he did and all that. So it's out there. And the kids are going to be old enough to listen and comprehend and all that. So I guess this part of the song is letting her kids know, look, I'm trying. You know, I'm trying to be a good wife. I'm trying, but I'm a fight. I'm a fight. I told you, I promise you, I'm going to fight. So that's a beautiful thing. Then she says, if you're feeling frustrated and, oh, you're sickened, I'm jumping in. Okay. She says, if you're feeling frustrated and you're sickened, I'm jumping in. So to me, that sounds like when she becomes not okay, she's a mother now, right? But when she becomes an ancestor, she's jumping in. She's there for them. All they got to do is ask. Because she's always going to be there for her. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me keep on. She says, forgiveness is key because we're fighting something way bigger. Again, law of attraction. Let it go. Think about things that make you happy. Think about things that make you happy. Love on people. Love on yourself. Let it go. Then you will increase your vibration. And with this whole Mercury retrograde thing, I'm letting you know right now, my birthstone is opal. Okay? I bought an opal pendant a few weeks ago during Mercury retrograde, by the way. Wore that thing for 2 weeks, and you talking about I felt like screaming at people for 2 whole weeks. Had nothing to do with my moon cycle, nothing. So I was like, well, maybe this is Mercury retrograde, right? You know, people feeling all kinds of ways during that time. Then I took the time to read more into the qualities of the opal and what it does and all that. And part of it was it brings out temper. So whatever, if you got temper buried down inside, you playing kumbaya and trying to be nice, you wear that opal stone, you gonna feel like throwing down and letting people know about themselves. And I was just fighting internally, like, what in the world is going on? I had to take that thing off, put back on my trusty bloodstone, and no lie, all that tension went away. The next day, I was a totally different person. So anyway, keep the vibrations up, okay? Even during Mercury retrograde, and whatever stones you may be wearing may or may not be creating more stress. So anyway, back to this. Forgiveness. Let it go. You'll never lose. We are winners. I'll be the roots. You be the tree. Pass on a fruit that was given to me. Legacy. We're part of something way bigger. So, I mean, that's self-explanatory, right? Then she goes into the same chorus, and then she says, let love be the water. I pour into you, and you pour into me. There ain't no drought here. Bloom into our actual powers. I'll be your sanctuary. You just don't know it yet. You know where I'm going with this. You know where I'm going with this. Bloom into our actual powers. I'll be your sanctuary. You just don't know it yet. What she's saying is, when I'm gone physically, you come to me spiritually. And I'm going to be your sanctuary. What? Is Beyonce referring to ancestral worship? That's what it sounds like to me. This ain't got nothing to do with Yeshua. As far as what people believe, you know, the everyday Christian person. Let's just put it that way. Of course, Yeshua, we've been taught, you know, he died and rose again. His body was not found in the tomb, and he's alive and well, and he's in paradise, okay? And we pray to him. We ask him for assistance, right? He is a master, right? He is the Prince of Peace. So when I heard that part in that song, I'll be your sanctuary. You just don't know it yet. She talking about ancestral worship. She talking about people who set up an altar for their ancestor or ancestors, burn a candle, whatever, put whatever that ancestor liked, maybe a fragrance or a flower or something designated for that that altar that you're building for that person. And you pray to that ancestor and ask for assistance or whatever. This is common in many nature-based belief systems. And at this point, I'm mentioning it as far as indigenous Americans, many people who are traditional with their belief systems, right? They're always talking about ancestors. They're always talking about sacred sites. They're always talking about burial sites. Many people are very much upset and feel a sense of disrespect whenever their ancestors' remains are somewhere displayed in a museum. It's a lot of ancestral acknowledgement within many indigenous tribal communities, right? And I'm just using that as an example that we are our ancestors and our ancestors are us. Everything about me and you, we carry from the DNA that was passed down to us from my ancestors. What I'm learning is that people that believe this, they believe their first source of what's the word I'm trying to say? Defense, I guess you could say, is calling on their grandma or whoever that they crossed over. That's exactly what she's talking about. Wow. You just don't know it yet. No matter how hard it gets, you got my blood in you, and you're gonna rise. Woo! Wow. I was like, that's exactly what she's talking about. So she's already instilling this, because eventually she will cross over and her descendants will have this among 1,000,001 things that she's going to leave for them, right? And all she pretty much saying is, physically, I'm not here. I'm somewhere else. All you got to do is give me a call and I'll be there to assist you. Because you got my blood in you. That's how she said, you got my blood in you. Okay, then she says, you're part of something bigger. Okay, that's the same chorus. Then she says, understand the truth about that question in your soul. Look up, don't look down, then watch the answers unfold. Life is your birthright. They hid that in the fine print. Take the pen and rewrite it. Step out your estimate. Something else came to me. Step out your estimate. I'm thinking of slavery. I'm thinking of the slave blocks. When slaves were in this country, were put up on the blocks, and people would throw out estimates of how much they thought, you know, it was an auction, how much they thought that person was worth, even though they treated them like cattle. Step out your estimate. Step in your essence, and know that you're excellent. Rise. The Spirit is teaching. The Spirit is teaching. The Spirit is teaching. Oh, I'm not just preaching. I'm taking my own advice. If you feel insignificant, you better think again. Better wake up, because you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. I'll be the roots. You be the tree. Pass on the fruit that was given to me. Legacy. We're part of something bigger. Hashtag respect. Wow. Wow. The first time I heard the song, I was like, wow. The second time I heard the song, I was in tears. I mean, yeah, she can be flashy and all that. But at the end of the day, she is using this platform to remind people to step into your essence. You got to believe it. Pick up a pen and rewrite it. I got law of attraction out of this song. I got ancestor worship. I got journaling and scribing, and a whole boatload of other things too, just by this one song. And out of all the songs that she put out there, I would say this is my number one, top of my list of a Beyonce song. And I've danced and grooved a lot of songs, you know, because again, we were around the same age, right? You know, whatever she was grooving to, I was like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Deja vu. Okay, I was grooving too. She's on another level now. And this is spiritual. So I would say take notes. You may not necessarily believe exactly how other people believe, but you can get something out of this. And I would say law of attraction. If you don't get nothing else out of this, I would say you can at least get the law of attraction part out of it. Step in your essence and know that you're excellent. Know it, believe it, feel it. Don't believe the lies that people said about you. You're nothing. You're stupid. You're dumb. You're ugly. Right? No. You pick up a pen and you rewrite it. And know that you're excellent. That's law of attraction, baby. Okay, next song, and then I'm going to call it a night. I'm going in overtime once again. I have so much to say because I don't do this every night, obviously. And when I get on, it's like I got so much I want to talk about. So before I get into this next song, I'm going to read your comments, sweet. You said, okay, you are right. Only God you worship. Okay, this song is deep. Okay, you are right. I will watch this. Okay. So, okay, brown skin girl. Obviously, it is what it is, right? Brown skin girl. Brown skin girls. As a grown woman, I've grown to love my brown skin. But this song took me back to my childhood, how I felt. And I cried like a baby when I heard the song. I cried. And I've actually watched people's reactions on YouTube, like the first time that they hear the song and their reactions. And I'm sitting there like wiping tears right along with them. So anyway, as an adult, I'm confident. I love my skin. I love my genetic makeup because it's a reflection of my history. But this did take me back to when I was a kid and how I felt as a kid, growing up in a household that there was a lot of colorism, right? And different relatives, talking negative about other relatives based on the way they look or their hair texture or their weight. But anyway, this song is pretty much skin. So, brown skin girl, your skin just like pearls, the best thing in the world, never trade you for anybody else. Singing brown skin girl, your skin just like pearls, the best thing in the world, I never trade you for anybody else. Singing. Okay. That right there is an affirmation for all the little girls out there and adults who still have that little girl in them. Affirmation that they are beautiful. Not better than everybody else, right? But stand in your beauty as well. And so that right there, just that brought back the little girl in me. And then she said she really grew up poor like me. Don't believe in nothing but the Almighty. Just a Lyco jeans and a pure white tee. She never did forever be nobody wifey. Okay, I guess because with songs that kind of mess around with the words, and when you read them they don't really sound proper English or whatever, but in the song it flows better. But I guess in this verse it's saying that I guess she felt like she will never be wife material for a decent person because of her dark skin, and she grew up poor or whatever. Then it says, so while I may not pretty boy, your heart is amiss. Play it like a villain, 'cause she caught in a wave. Tonight I am walking away. Line up my mind on the grind, yeah. So I guess I think what I'm getting out of this verse is a lot of dark-skinned girls, brown-skinned girls or whatever, if they have been treated less than or picked on, bullied, or what have you, many times they become bullies. I can't tell you how many times that I've been around girls who are darker than me and have a different hair texture than I do, try to bully me. But I rose up on them and they got the hint real quick that you're not going to bully me. I'm not the one. But some of the same girls will try to pick fights or argue with people, and they usually were darker skinned girls. So I don't know if that particular verse has something to do with, being the villain, the angry black woman, or angry, you know what I'm saying, sweet. And anybody else that watches this after I end this live video. But there's a stereotype that darker skin, especially females, darker skinned females can be some hateful girls, want to pick fights and I wish you would, because they ready to fight. And then I guess the pretty boys don't want her or something like that. So again, the way the words are kind of mixed up in there, it's doesn't really make sense, but that's kind of how I am interpreting it by just reading it. Then it says, tonight I might fall in love depending on how you hold me. This is the chorus. I'm glad that I'm calming down. Can't let no one come control me. Keep dancing and call it love. She fighting but falling slowly. If ever you are in doubt, remember that mama told me. So, okay, this is when she's falling in love with herself, because now she understands that she's beautiful as well. And she's calming down, right? She's not going to let nobody tell her that she ain't cute, right? And then dancing, love, call love. She fighting but falling slowly. So she's falling in love, but it's slow. She doesn't fall fast because she's like, okay, what's up? What's up with you? I ain't used to you or people like you trying to holler. So what's up? You know, if ever you are in doubt, well, why is he looking at me? I mean, I'm not light skinned. My hair is not like Becky. You know what Beyonce would say, Becky with the good hair. And it says, remember what mama told me, meaning the average mama is trying to reassure her daughter that she is pretty and she is smart and she is strong. So it's like, remember that, remember that, remember that. I have an uncle who passed away. He was my godfather from Baltimore, Maryland. And from day one, I was his little baby doll because I was the darkest child that was born on my dad's side of the family. When my uncle was, you know, married and family, he was a very dark-skinned man. And every time I would see him, he would say, how pretty I am. You are so pretty, baby. You are so pretty, baby. You are so pretty. He was the only one that I could remember in my family that would tell me I was pretty. I mean, I guess the rest of them assumed that I knew I was not ugly, but at the same time, the color. Because if you're hearing people talk about other people, and I mentioned some stories in one of my other videos about overhearing other family members talking negative about a darker skinned relative or in-law, and I'm sitting there and my skin is dark. So how am I supposed to feel about that, right? And right now my skin is summertime complexion, but very limited sun exposure because it's not like I'm outside all day. But when I was a kid, I spent from sun up to sundown, like most children, outside playing. At least my generation, because we didn't have video games and all that until I was like maybe preteen. I think I got a Nintendo or whatever. I know I'm getting up there, right? I did have like a Nintendo when I was in my preteens, but for the most part, I love being outside and the sun kissed me every single day in the summertime. And my skin was just as dark as, not quite Lupita. I would say more like Gabrielle Union, okay? And so, you know, my skin can get a lot darker, closer to Lupita, just so you know. My skin, I can tan very, very, very well and very, very, very deep. Like my skin does not stop tanning, okay? So that does happen. Unfortunately, it still happens in a lot of people who have not traveled outside their comfort zone and they haven't been around other people that look different from them. Or they don't see the beauty in whatever they think is a negative because for whatever reason they were taught to think that, maybe subconsciously, maybe. But yeah, remember what mama told you or what mama told me. And my mother is light skinned. And she might have told me a few times you know, I guess she just assumed, well, you got my blood in you, like Beyonce. You got my blood in you, so you pretty. Let me see if I can find a picture of her. But you know, sometimes you just have to hear it as children. You know, as a grown woman, I know I'm not ugly, and I know that I have worth, and I'm confident as an adult. But as a kid, like I said, this song took me back. And I think a lot of the people, especially the women who were sharing their reaction on YouTube and actually was crying, this song took them back. And maybe some of them still felt that way. I don't feel that way now, but it just took me back to how I felt as a child. So let me go to my mom. My mom has a Facebook page, by the way. Let me see. So yeah, she's light skinned, and but yeah, she never. The things she posts on Facebook. I think some of my fire comes from my mama. Let's just put it that way. She would tell you about yourself real quick. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Let's see. I just want a picture of her, not necessarily her significant other or other people, because you know, I just want them to have privacy, you know what I mean? So let me she dyed her hair red. She's a redhead now. So yeah, it's not a great picture from this angle because the phone is kind of blurry. But that's my mama. And she is 63, I believe. Yeah, 63. So I mean, if you just look at her shoulder, you can tell that she's light skinned. So anyway, I guess she figured, well, of course you're pretty, you know, you got my blood in you, but still, you know, you have to tell children this. And again, when this song first started at the beginning, Blue Ivy, her daughter, was affirming, speaking, right? So you got to tell these children. If you don't tell them, then they're going to take the subliminal messages that they receive all the time, and we know what they are as adults. Remember that the children, you need to actually verbalize this stuff and show them, not assume, because you are older and you know, you've lived. You can't just assume that a child will comprehend that they're beautiful when they don't see imagery of that, right? They don't see people that look like them and they're seen as beautiful on the cover of a magazine. I know that's vanity and everything, but it is what it is. So you have to like instill that early in the little girl. Little boys too. But at the same time, you have very dark-skinned men who are doing very well. But back then, they got heat too for being too dark. But now you got a chestnut. What is the guy's name? I don't know his name, but he was a girls trip, and he was Jada Pickett's boo thing for that weekend. You talking about gorgeous, okay? Gorgeous, okay? Fine. So, Morris Chestnut, thank you. Oh, you said my mom is pretty. You got her looks. I love her hair color. Thank you. She would love for me to let her know that you liked her picture. So thank you for the compliment. Yeah, she likes to try new things. So she's now redhead. I don't know how long that's gonna last. Knowing her, she's gonna dye her hair back black, you know. But yeah, thanks for the compliment. Yeah, I am starting to look more like her the older I get. As a kid, I looked more like my dad. Like I had more of his features. And then the older I get, the more I look like her. And I'm not talking about skin color, whatever like that. Like my hair right now, it doesn't look like much because I really didn't do much to it. But my hair is closer to my dad's texture than my mom's. My mom has more of a kinky, curly kind of texture, afro-ish, and my dad has a looser curl pattern. And so my hair leans closer to his hair pattern. If you didn't know any better, if you saw my dad, you would think he was an East Indian man or East Indian from the West Indies or Dominican or something like that. And my mom, a lot of people assume she was Mexican when I was coming up. Yeah, so that's how that is. I just happen to take on the darker complexion via my dad because he and I have pretty much the same kind of complexion. Mom is lighter. Okay, anyway, back to this. I'm going to skip the chorus because it kind of repeats itself quite a bit. So I'm going to go down. It says, pose like a trophy when Naomi's walk in. She says this Naomi's, right? Plural. So you do have women who are, you know, model type, gorgeous, tall, beautiful women that walk in like a trophy, right? Like this. I don't walk like that. But yeah, so she says, pose like a trophy when the Naomi's walk in. She need an Oscar for that pretty dark skin. Pretty like Lupita when the camera's close in. Drip broke the levee when my Kellys rolled in. Wow. Drip broke the levee. Talking about the, woo! You know what a levee is, right? The levee is supposed to keep the water out. Once they break, flood it, right? And you know, Kelly Rowland is pretty much her best friend. She was part of Destiny's Child as well. Kelly, you know, is brown-skinned girl. And so I guess that's what she meant, like when my Kellys rolled in. So again, that's plural, right? Kelly, Rowland, Kelly, brown skin, best friend, right? Then she says, I think tonight she might braid her braids. Melanin too dark to throw her shade. I was like, what? I had to repeat that. I was like, what? So anyway, pretty much it can go both ways to interpret that. Shade meaning like if you're outside under a tree, you have shade, right? And then melanin too dark to throw her shade. So when you think of melanin, you think of dark complexion. When you think of a shade, you think of dark because the light is being blocked. So it says melanin too dark to throw her shade. You don't need to give her shade because she don't need shade because you got enough melanin so she don't get sunburn, number one. Number two, she's so beautiful with her melanin complexion. Don't waste your time being negative towards her. And some people call that shade, like being negative. So it's like different interpretations of that one line. So I thought that was pretty cool. She minds her business and winds her waist. Gold like 24K. Okay. So that was kind of cute. And then that chorus, they go into that chorus again. And then it says, oh, have you looked in the mirror lately? Wish you could trade eyes with me. Okay. Whenever people will give me a compliment for years, I'm like, oh, I'm all right. For whatever reason, I had this thing with I didn't want to be seen as vain or arrogant or conceited, even though I knew I wasn't ugly. But if someone gave me a compliment, I would always say, well, I'm okay. I'm not all that. Them days are over. Over. Because obviously they're looking at me. They appreciate what I look like. I need to start appreciating what I look like. So that's what I, took away from that. There's complexities in complexion, but your skin, it glow like diamonds. Dig me like the earth, you be giving birth. To everything in life, baby, know your worth. When I first heard that, when she says you be giving birth, I thought of the first woman. And apparently scientists are saying the first woman was somewhere in Africa. The first woman. Now, of course, everybody in Africa does not have dark skin. But come on, y'all. Come on. Okay, Sweet says, looks like Shaka Khan did a spell it right. Okay, you do look East Indian. Looks like Shaka Khan. Well, my mama? Does my mama look like Shaka Khan? You know who I think looks like Shaka Khan? You remember Selena? Selena was a crossover pop artist. She was also Mexican American. And she was murdered in the 90s. But she was up there. Like, I'm still a fan of Selena. I always thought Selena looked like a young Shaka Khan. Always. If you compare a young Shaka Khan with the Selena picture and put them together, they look so much alike. Oh, you think I look like Chili on TLC? I don't see it, but I'll take it because she's, a beautiful person. So thank you. Let's see. So took everything in life, baby, know your worth. I love everything about you, from your nappy curls to every single curve, your body natural. Okay. You know how the word nappy has a very negative, derogatory kind of like vibe to it. That part I didn't like that she used nappy, but at the same time, she has embraced her hair texture. And up on all that weave and stuff, occasionally you'll see her real hair, but her hair, she doesn't have apparently relaxers or whatever, and her hair is kinky. And a few years back, in one of her songs, she, I don't know if it was on the Lemonade album, when she says, you better call Becky with the good hair. So apparently, and the good hair is another topic of discussion that many people had to deal with and still dealing with if their hair is not a particular hair pattern and shine or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, if she's referring to somebody else as good hair, you better call Becky with the good hair. And then she uses the word nappy curls in this song. Then maybe she's okay with the word nappy, and maybe she's trying to make it so that everyone else is okay with the word nappy. And just stand and sit in that and be. But to me, I like the word kinky better than nappy. That's just me. Because whenever you hear the word nappy, you automatically think ugly. You can say tangled, you can say kinky, but when it comes to nappy, you just automatically think poor and ugly. And so, but anyway, she said the nappy curls. So, Anyway, same skin that was broken be the same skin taken over. She put out the memo, y'all. She put out the memo. The same skin that was broken be the same skin taken over. And I always thought, like, all these people who suppress their sub-Saharan, African, Black, whatever DNA or ethnicity, they suppress that. They want to be everything else but. And I always wonder, what if there was reparations for Black folks who are descendants of slaves or just descendants of slaves, period, in this country? How many people will be trying to find that one Black slave in their family? And you got generations and after generations of families to try to hide that, changing records and everything. And how many people will be trying to find that one Black slave so they get reparations? Like, no, remember y'all was suppressing that? That ship has sailed. Too late. So anyway, so it says, most things out of focus view, but when you're in the room, they notice you because you're beautiful. Yeah, you're beautiful. I work, for the most part, I work or have worked around a lot of non-people of color or non-brown skin people of color. And I will always feel like I was the elephant in the room. Not always, but sometimes I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to see somebody else that kind of looks like me. I'm not, the zoo animal. But then over time, over the years, I realized that they're not just looking at me because they dislike that I'm in their space, because some people do, but that's their problem. But sometimes they're looking at me because they see something that's attractive. So if you find something about yourself that you thought was inferior as a kid, you can flip that bad boy and use that as a strength. Because a lot of people, and I'm thinking about Tiger Woods right now, right? Tiger Woods is one of the best golfers of all time, right? Out of all the golfers out there who did well, he stood out. All you would hear was Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods, right? Because he was not white. He was not part of the norm. He stood out. And even if he was just Asian, all right, he wouldn't have stood out as much. So sometimes that's, a great marketing tool. Just being different. Being different from everybody else is a great marketing tool. Yeah, it sucks when you're being bullied or whatever, but if you can flip that bad boy later, when it actually matters. I don't know who the rest of them golfers are and who got those. I don't know. I don't even follow golf. I don't even follow sports like that. But I know who Tiger Woods is. I know who Serena is, I don't know the other tennis players, but I know who Serena is. I know her sister, right? I know who they are. They stand out. And then the chorus again. And then Blue Ivy ends the song, brown skin girl, your skin just like pearls, the best thing in the world. I never trade you for anybody else. Singing. And I thought that was such a beautiful song. Such a beautiful song. The message, the vocals were pretty much beautiful, right? But the message, these two songs, even though there's two other songs I really like on this album, but for the sake of this video and in the theme of this video, these two songs sent out a message worldwide. And even though I'm speaking from a person of color who happens to be of African descent and Indigenous American descent, this goes for all brown-skinned people, all people of color. Every society, right, has a group of people that are darker in complexion. And for whatever reason, they're treated as inferior. I don't know which country in Asia. I'm not pointing any fingers, but you have billboards and commercials. You know, like in this country, they always have commercials about heart disease and everything every 5 minutes, especially in dinner time. For whatever reason, they time it's like clockwork. Every other commercial is about a prescription drug. In other countries, it's like bleach creams, lightening your skin. And these are not necessarily what you would consider Black people, right? But they've been conditioned to believe that the lighter the skin, the better your life will be. And the people that believe that and push that agenda as well, it continues the cycle, right? It continues the cycle. So with that, I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching. Sweet, you've been on here pretty much the whole time, I think. So thanks for hanging in there with me. And whoever else watched for however long you did, thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes. Again, this is my book that I'm going to begin reading, Fire on the Beach, based in North Carolina, and an all-Black crew, Coast Guard back in the day. And again, Hope on Hatterask. Both books are on Amazon. Later on this weekend, I'm going to leave the links in the description box. Just give me some time to do that. And you can check that out at your leisure. Okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. Be blessed. Stay blessed. Be a blessing to others. Until next time, and there will definitely be a next time. Take care. Toodles.